Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com, and today I have a number of my juicers here on the table, and today I'll be talking about what's the best juicer or picking the best juicer for you. So as you can see, there's many different types of juicers, and I'm gonna pretty quickly run down the different types of juicers. The first type of juicer I want to talk about is the one that I don't have on the table actually. It's called a Centrifugal Juicer. So basically it works much like your washing machine on the spin cycle. So basically you stick produce into the top machine, it shreds it on a shredding plate, and then it flings it out into a little basket that spins around continually like your washing machine on the spin cycle to spin your clothes dry. This spins the juice out of the pulp, and then it keeps the pulp inside the machine. So actually, unfortunately, I don't actually own one of those juicers because I really hate that design. It's really antiquated and I don't really recommend them. There are some uses that you may want to use that juicer, but for all practical purposes, I'd say avoid that juicer. I mean, the only time you would maybe even consider that is if you did want to juice a lot of fruits. But then I don't recommend juicing fruits. I would recommend blending fruits. More on that a little bit later. So the next kind of juicer I'd like to go over is called the Centrifugal Ejection Juicer. So much like the centrifugal juicer, you put the produce into the top of the machine. And actually, this is an example right here. The L'Equip 215 XL. And basically what happens is you put the produce into the top of the machine there, and what happens is the produce hits these shredding plates, and then the produce is shred, juice is released, the juice actually falls through the screen and then out the spout in the front, and the pulp is kicked out into a hopper in the back. Now this is just a lot easier to clean than the centrifugal juicers. The other thing about the centrifugal juicers that are not ejecting, they do tend to get off balance. Has your washing machine ever gotten off balance on the spin cycle? It'll make this loud buzzing noise. Well, the juicer won't make a buzzing noise. It'll literally walk across your table and maybe walk off your table if you're not paying attention. So I don't really recommend those. But so this kind is the kind I recommend. It could be good for juicing certain kinds of produce, such as does great on carrots and apples and celery. Things like carrots, apples, cucumbers, and celery. It's not so efficient at juicing leaf. The next juicer we're going to talk about today is the Champion Juicer. Now the Champion Juicer has been out since the 60s. It works on a masticating principle. So basically you put the produce into the top here, and this blade basically just chews up the juice. So it basically grinds it, much like an old-fashioned meat grinder actually. This one runs at 1,725 RPM. So it's definitely slower than the L'Equip over here, but not as slow as the Omega. So the Champion also has some other features, such as in this juicer here, we have what's called the blank plate. So the blank plate allows you to make things like nut butters and frozen banana sorbet and whatnot. And I actually personally own this juicer just to make frozen banana sorbet, because when you put frozen bananas in here with the blank plate, out of the bottom comes pretty much nothing, but out of the front comes basically banana sorbet and an ice cream and like a frozen yogurt type consistency that would come out of a machine, and it's just 100% bananas. And the reason why it does it so well is because when you're putting the bananas in there, it homogenizes it and it adds air and fluffs up your bananas. So it makes it really good banana ice cream. But on the same token, if you're juicing carrots or apples, it's also introducing air into your juice, which oxidizes your juice. So maybe we don't want that. So why don't we move on to the next juicer here? This is the Omega 8005 juicer. It's also the same as the 8003 juicer. This is a single auger juicer. There are many single auger juicers on the market right now, but this is my favorite, the Omega 8003, 5, and 6. And basically this works by putting the produce in. There's an auger in here, once again, much like an old-fashioned meat grinder. It spins around and it'll basically crush the produce. It'll make the produce fit in a smaller and smaller and smaller space until basically it makes the produce, hit up against a stainless steel screen and a second screen where juice is pressed out. On the initial drop, when you drop the produce in, on the initial crush, the juice is, basically expelled through this first screen. So this is a two-stage single auger juicer. Now the older juicers, such as the Samson juicer, the L'Equip Omni juicer, are single-stage single auger juicers. So they're not quite as advanced as this model, the Omega 8005 that I'm showing today. Also, the Solo Star 2 is a dual stage single auger juicer that is actually a little bit more efficient than the Omega 8005 that I'm showing today, but the cost is it will take you longer to clean. I like this juicer here because it takes me, under 2 minutes to clean. So we'll move on to the next juicer here. This is actually called a green power juicer, and this is one of the first low RPM juicers on the market. It's pretty heavy. I can handle it in one hand, but it's pretty dang heavy. This is the Cadillac of juicers, So you untwist this here, and basically you would open it up, and you'll see all these parts. You have a screen, you have 2 stainless steel twin gears, and you basically put the produce into this, and the produce is literally squeezed between the 2 gears, like I'm squeezing my fingers through 2 gears, and it literally squeezes the juice out of the produce. And you have a big body here and a whole bunch of parts to clean. Now, this juicer is really good at juicing most anything, but the problem is the cleaning. There's a lot of nooks and crannies. There's a lot of parts to clean, and it's also very expensive. So that's why we'll move to the next juicer. And the next juicer is, a revolutionary design. It just came out. It's basically a single auger juicer like I just showed you on the Omega 8005, but it's a vertical auger juicer. So basically you drop the produce in a larger feed chute than on, say, this is the Omega 8005 feed chute. It's a circle, and on this feed chute it's kind of like a crescent shape, but it's a lot larger. So you could actually drop in whole pieces of carrots and half, 1/3 piece of an apple. It'll go in here and basically, the same thing. It'll get into an auger situation, and the auger will just basically compress it down until the juice is literally squeezed out. And one of the nice features about this juicer is that it has an automatic cleaning system. So this silicone wiping blade goes around the juicer as you're juicing, and it actually cleans the screen for you, so you will get a higher yield. So once again, that's the Omega Vert juicer. So as you can see, there's many different types of juicers. Each of them juice a little bit differently. These ones on this side of the table make a higher juice quality than say the other two. If you want something really durable, the Champion, it's built like a tank. They've made these in the United. It's actually probably the only juicer still made in the United States. They're built like a tank, and they'll probably last forever, despite the 5-year warranty. But these juicers are backed up. Omega 8005 with a 10-year warranty, the Vert with a 10-year warranty, the Green Star and Green Power juicers have a 5-year warranty. So hope you've learned more about juicer today and juicer selection. You can visit my website, discountjuicers.com, to read other informative articles about juicer selection. I have so many up there that have been up there since 1998 when we started our business. And anyways, John Kohler, Discount Juicers. Visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotions for our YouTube visitors. Thank you.